It's important. I think it's important that we know these things. Shalom, shalom, family. I just wanted to look at this note that I made a while back. I just wanted to see, because now I got a little more understanding about some things. When I first seen, I thought was impressive, but upon learning a couple different things, I realized something really interesting. Because this note actually found this little piece of information a while back about the so-called atom that they found, right? The so-called atom. This is actually a line that's close to the genetic line of A00. I've been talking about this for a minute. Maybe I'll even make this just about A00 real fast. So late night live today, right? I'm gonna pull up a note here. I just think it's really interesting, when you go and you keep on continuing with the Lord, you keep finding different things, right? Because there'll be times where I sit there and, you read many different times, you look at prophecy, and a lot of it's impressive, a lot of it's amazing. And, once you start understanding it and you know them and everything, and then you're looking for more and everything, and, you're getting a lot of different information, you realize that the scripture is talking about reality, things that's actually happening around us. For example, this little novel find, right? This is going to be basically what is called A00, right? Because it got little sub branches and everything, but in sense of understanding, this little novel find is called A00. And what's interesting about it, see, some people, they think they know it. They just think they know it just by seeing A there. But you got to really look at it. This line, this is what they released. This line is not connected to the tree. And I'm going to show you how this line is not connected to the tree. I'm going to go to one that's on, this is actually family tree. You can actually open the tree, which is really interesting, which this is basically a picture of it. But I want to read you this little part right here. It's really interesting. This is basically the understanding of it. But let me open it on family tree. Let me actually open that right here. And don't worry, I have my phone on the side to see the chat. We'll go down here. So we're going to look at this, but I'm going to open it on the family tree so you can see it from the site itself. All right. Okay. So you see this? You see what was just open there? You see this? 1090. If you just close this, you get to a certain branch, very rare branch. Now, if you hold, I wonder if it does it do it here, right here. You see this? You see what it says right here? 43,952, right? Downstream branches. Now, that's important to understand. I always talk about that something's actually losing information because we know nothing in genetics actually gains information. That's a fact. Nothing in genetics ever has gained information. Everything loses information. And that's what a sub branch is. A sub branch is a lower branch of the original branch. And that's actually very important because that's how we know that things lose information, because genetics show it. Many different things show it. Almost everything shows that it loses information, right? Now, what I want to show here is A00. Now, this is obviously you'll get we can open it, you just take a look, all your branches and everything, G's and I's and whatnot, your regular branches, right? You can alter your split right there, CT right there. Obviously, it's important to know that this is all set up the way they want it to be set up. But there's one thing they can't set up as they want it to be set up, because A and B doesn't go into CT, just for the sake of understanding. That's a fact. That's a genetic fact. A and B doesn't go into BT or CT. It doesn't descend that way. It doesn't downstream that way, and they can't say nothing about it. Let me show you something. You see this right here? You see this one right here? This is the so-called I'm going to open it the way that they open it. And then I'm going to show you what we're looking at here. All right. Okay. I'm going to show you something. So this is going to be the so-called genetic atom, right? Watch what it says right here. This is the atom, right? Y chromosome atom. This is the atom. They didn't find an ancient. Now understand, if they found an ancient body and got genetics from that, and that was Adam, you say that's Adam. But they didn't find an ancient body. These are living people. Understand this, that these are living people with a signature of an ancient line. It's not an ancient line, it's a map. It has all the snips of everything. It has all of them. And the STRs, it has all of them. In fact, I'm gonna show you. So this is Y chromosome Adam, right? This is the rest of mankind. Isn't that crazy? There's a branch with the rest of mankind, and then what Adam does is does his own. This is a straight line. It makes its own line. It crosses, passes all the other lines. That's what it does. And let me show you. I'm gonna show you that it does. Remember how we looked right here and it said this is 100% of the tree? Look what it says about this one. This is A00. Watch what it says here. 0% of the tree. What do you mean 0% of the tree? Let me show you something. I'm gonna just open this. This is A00. Is what I'm showing you here. This right here is A00. So from here, what you're actually seeing here is a straight line. Don't even look at this one. Just go straight like that. That's what you're seeing. This is all actually one family. This is one family. It's a fact that this is one family. In fact, right here, you see this? This is actually what the people that study this put the answers there to what it is. And this is one family because it's all from this person called Albert Perry. And it says basically great grandson of Albert Perry. And it says great great grandson and great 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 grandson of Albert Perry. And you can see all these different things. And these are all one lineage. They're connected. It's a family tree. For the sake of understanding, after studying this to me looks like the Y chromosome of Aaron. Now understand, these are only found in one area. Someone, I've seen different people try to say this is him, but understand, we got branches of him. This branch is not a normal branch. Understand, this A00 is what they wanted to call it. Understand that. That this line, this lineage, is unlike any other lineage. It's not, in fact, look at it. Like I said, you can go to it yourself and see. It says downstream branches of so and so. It says downstream branches from so and so, but notice that it says 0.0% of the tree. What do you mean 0% of the tree? Because this is the whole tree. You understand? This line is not connected to this tree. Understand that. They try to connect. This is what they try to do. So there's A's and B's. We know those are Hamites. What they try to do is actually consider this as an A. This is not an A. Understand that. This branch is impossible. It's actually genetically impossible. Understand when I say this. I understand, like, you got to understand this. If you understand what actually is in A00, it's genetically impossible because it has every single look at L0. It has every single STR and every single SNP. And these are all similar. All these things are similar. You don't find them in random people. You find it in one type of people. It's a fact. It's 100% fact, and it can't be denied. It's 100% fact. The L lineages are always going to be in the E lineages. It's really interesting when you actually see it. It's really interesting. And then you actually start to see a pattern. You start to understand that there's a clear understanding of what's going on. 100% of the tree. This is the 100% of the tree of everyone else. I see little different things where they say A00 doesn't bring forth E1B1A. Of course, A00 only brings forth A00. That's a fact. And it's a separate lineage, but you only find it in one people, in one area. Well, you find it in one area when you track where it the people from that area came from. You get a big understanding of these things. I just wanted to show that because I think A00 is very interesting. I think it's I think it's genetically impossible because understand, this is not Adam, right? When you they show people this, the first thing everyone does, oh, they found Adam. They found the genetic Adam. Okay, from where? Where is the genetic Adam? From where? Where's the ancient? Because let me show you something. Few people know this, but the E lineage is not an African lineage. In fact, there's no ancestors in Africa. You know how we know? Because CT is the oldest branch. From CT splits into CF and DE. Understand that. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you something because I think it's important. I think it's important when we talk of these deep things because I think it's important. I think it's important that we know these things. I just wanted to go back a little bit. So just wanted to have a free conversation. I guess, seeing this, like I was saying, from CT splits into DE and CF. I'm going to show you. We're going to look at E. I'm going to show you that ancient lines of E are not found in Africa. Understand that. When you look at the people who have the E lineage, they're not found in Africa. Understand that. Well, I'm going to show you something, right? Remember CT and these ones. Just remember this. CT, we're going to look at that. I'll show you something. Because CT is an ancient branch. They know it for a fact. It's an ancient. That means it's like someone like all the way close to Noah, for the sake of understanding. Look at this. Do you know what this actually is? The Natufian DNA. Now, who is in the Natufian DNA? That's what's interesting. The interesting thing is when you look at the lines that they found in Israel, these little lineages that they found. This is a historical find, I think, to me, because I think if you get this much evidence of something, something got to give at some point. You can't be serious. Something got to give for the sake of understanding. It says this is a quote, right? It says according to ancient analysis, right, conducted by such and such in 2016 on the Tufian skeletal remains, right? Skeletal remains. This is ancient peoples, right? This is ancient peoples, fossilized, or you can say fossil in a way, finding fossils and saying this is where they were, right? Skeletal remains from present day northern Israel, right? They're looking at Israel. They're looking at the land of Israel, okay? Looking at the land of Israel, and they're saying the Natufian carried the Y DNA parent. This is the Y DNA haplogroup. And then what they say in Israel, these fossils that they find in the land of Israel has what lineage? E. This is the E lineage, and in fact, it's the ancient lineage. It has CT there, 40%. CT there. This means the ancient people was up there in that area. And that's where E was. That's where E was. E1B1 in that area. That's why, when you look at these things, you can actually see the evidence of it. You can see the evidence of it. And it's just ridiculous, to see how the world is today, that they can't even admit to the facts of truth. You can see they're not African. Where does it say they're African? Where in the world? Because even, actual geneticists say they're not African? I'm going to show you that they say with their own writings. Let me show you something. I think it's important to see this because sometimes, when you're talking genetics, you got to know a little bit of medical. You got to be familiar with the field a little bit. And Yah willing, he is here to help me because I'm a little familiar with the field because this is what I do. I work in the medical field. I'm more used to medicine though. I'm more used to medication administration, but it's just a change of pace. That's what it is. and understanding codes and information. That's all it is. Once you get those things memorized, then you can start to understand what's going on. It takes a little bit practice, but it's worth it in the end to find the truth. I want to show you something right here. Okay, so you see what it's saying here? Watch what it says right here. It says the middle. Now watch what it says. The Middle Eastern haplogroups D and E split at such and such a time. You see what it's saying here? It just single-handedly just said the lineage of E. Because D, D is actually the Japanese and stuff like that. You know, these are clearly in Asia. And the E lineage is actually counted to be, you know, in Israel with the ancient lineages. CT is undeniable. It's a fact. CT is an ancient lineage. That's an ancient line, and then from that you get E, D. You also get CF, you know. The truth is from CT you're gonna have another branch T. BT is gonna bring you A and B lineages. They descend. They all descend from BT and CT. CT is gonna bring you D and E, and those are gonna also bring you all you see E and D. You also from CT get F, C, and F. From CT you get C and F, and that's gonna give you a lot of the um, other lines from C and F for the sake of understanding. And then from BT, right, you're going to get A and B. And this is what I was just talking about because, you can see it when you look at the branch, the splits, it's clear. It's clear splits at BTCT. It's not, it's no doubt. There's no doubt at all. And then you can see the E lineage. This is Israel. Understand this. This is actually really Israel. This is really Israel. It's just that some people took the message and ran it too hard against people and made it seem like it was not the truth because a lot of people were running with it angry. Understand that's actually prophecy too. It says they shall be made angry and jealous. That's a scripture. But understand this is truth. That's the whole story how they actually moved around when is Rome came and besieged them, and then obviously where they got to flee if Rome's up here. When it makes sense for them to be up here, and remember, uh, it was quoted by a historian that the Jews they looked like Ethiopians. This is a fact, right? These are some things that we got to take in. If they looked at darker skin, we got evidence of their DNA in this area, and we can actually follow them throughout different books, right? If we can find all these different things, how much is it going to take for people to start realizing the truth and reconciling the truth? Because this is the problem. More lies and more lies and more lies and more lies makes confusion. That's all that it does. It's just like A00. I feel like it's under attack. Like people can't see that when they released this, it was a novel find. It was not on the tree that they had before. It's impossible. It's impossible. The way that is now, if it was not on the tree and it was just like its own branch with its own like degrading, that's one thing. This branch is not degrading. These are now understand these are actually they're gonna have a perfect illustration of the whole tree on them. If someone was to basically in a way like genetics would know if they was to open this, right? If they were to take every snip and look at every snip and look at every STR, if they was to look at it all, they'll see the whole tree. They'll have a map of the whole tree. They have a picture of it all. That's a map. This genetic line is a map. That's what it is. It's impossible. It's because think about it. It's not a ancient. This is not a ancient person. These are lineages. These are people that lived, that walked the earth very, very recently. And it's very interesting to see such a thing like that. It's very interesting. But having all the branches in, as you can see, it's really interesting also seeing all the branches descend, because you can see which ones are connected. Like I was talking about with certain ones. Sometimes I do that, just sit there and close them, get an idea, feel for what goes where and everything. It's just, it's not too hard to understand. You open it and then it descends and it descends. It doesn't like nothing goes down and goes up and goes down and go up. Everything descends. That's how genetics work. Everything you're mutating. That's what it is. Losing information. That's what it's doing. Everything is losing information. It's just constantly losing information. But I'm gonna go back because I want to look at that again. You can see this is 100% of the tree, but these are 0% of the tree, and they got their own sub branches. It's so odd. It's one of those things where if you look at it, is they have a bunch of different sub branches, but if you really look at what's in the sub branches and everything, you actually realize these are just continuation. That's all it is, just continuation. It's just continuing. It's just these ones, it's crazy. It's crazy when you actually understand it, that this has every single snip. It's basically like having for someone today to have something like that, they would basically have to just come into existence. That's what that means. Understand that. It's like they just came into existence, because for them to have all the snips and them to have all those things with no mutations, barely any mutation, because this is everything. That's what that basically is. If you break it down, if you look at what they say about A00, it's everything. They have everything in them. It's crazy. I sat there and read. I was like, this. How is it possible? And I'm thinking they're lying. The whole time they're talking, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I've been learning this stuff so far, and this one doesn't make any sense. How can you have a branch that's not even on the tree? How is that even possible? To have a branch that's not even on the tree? But that's what it is. It's just a branch that's not even on the tree. It's really crazy, but really deep. But it's one of those things that it actually, when you look at it, they'll say, because it has every snip. It has every snip, every single snip, but it descends in its own direction. It's really deep, but it has every snip. It's a map. That's what it is. It's a map, and that's how they made the Haplogroup tree. It's crazy. You can see this is the idea, A00 on this, and obviously this is a redesign. This is something that they wanted to design. Is more A's and stuff on here, but this is not something they found. They never found nothing like this. They never found no extra A's or nothing like that. This is just something they was talking about. They write about this. I knew this was fake because I heard about it when they was talking about it. They were talking about we need to redesign. We need to think of different designs, because their design was just right here. That was their design. But A00 came out of nowhere on his own branch. So they said they had to rethink the thing. It's really crazy. So you can see these are the other ones. I just thought that was really interesting. But the reason why that's important, because this is supposed to be the so-called atom. But if you really think about it, it's not really what you're actually seeing there is that you're seeing a branch that has every piece of information. It's a map. It's a whole map. We don't have Adam. We never dug up Adam and we found Adam. We can't say that's Adam's DNA. It's not. It's not Adam's DNA, because if it was Adam's DNA, you'll find it in every single person. It'll be a little different than that. It wouldn't be like that. But what you're seeing there it's like a separate lineage that's separate from the tree. That's what you're seeing. That's what makes it interesting, because it's not like it's descending into the tree. It's descending off the tree. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, right? If it was Adam, it would be right here, right? It would descend into the tree, right? You will see from A00, it will bring forth, it will be similar, and it will bring forth these ones. But these don't even make these. Understand that. A1 doesn't make BT. You can't, if in any geneticist, ask them to put it on a chart. Show A going into BT on the chart, on the actual genetic chart. It can't. And they write it themselves in papers. They say they do not descend into each other. I always talk about that, but I gotta quote that because I'm talking about that real fast. As you can see here, it is obvious. This is a geneticist. It is obvious that the haplogroup BT does not descend from African haplogroups having index A. So they already know. This A00 doesn't descend into it. A doesn't descend into BT. You see it on the chart. BT and CT is at the top, and everything else descends down. right? Sometimes you see them all topsy-turvy. You'll see BT at the bottom and CT on the side, and then everything descends upwards, right? That doesn't mean nothing because it all descends. They all know it descends. It doesn't go upwards. It doesn't. No one evolves. Nothing gains any information. Everything loses information. So basically, they started off in the beginning with all this information and started to lose it. But A00 didn't. A00 just didn't. It just stayed with all his information. That would be basically that it would that's impossible. Understand that, and they know it. That's why they call it a novel find. It's impossible for someone to be in this world and bring forth children and children and children and children and children and children and children. We've been here for so many thousands of years, and for them to have that amount of information at this point is impossible, and they know it. That's why on the tree everyone is here, and they're down there and all those things, and you can see a lot of information lost and whatnot. But for A00, you're seeing something like Aaron's branch, right? When basically Aaron made a dead branch bud, that's what happened. This genetic line is a separate lineage that is basically obviously human for the sake of understanding, but it's definitely a lineage that is impossible. It's genetically impossible, but it's there. So they got to face it. That's why they call it Adam. They call him Adam, but it's impossible. Understand that. Now we don't have Adam, so we can't see the genetics of Adam. Because if we had Adam, you know what it would look like? If we found Adam and had his genetics would be like this. It'll start here and it'll show evidence of descending into these ones. That's what happened. That's what would happen. You have one older than CT or BT, things like that. You have the oldest branches, for the sake of understanding. That's what you have. You have an older branch where those will all descend into it. But we don't have nothing like that. And they know it. We don't have nothing like that. We know that nothing connects. We have nothing older than the ones that we had, BT and CT. You understand? That's nothing older than that. They don't connect. It's like a gap. It's like a gap, you see? And they don't want to admit it. There's a gap. There's a gap. And that's also talking about the splits. There's 3 splits in lineages. That's your split of pretty much at the end of the story, you got A and B, and then you have your obviously your CF lineages, all that's under CF lineages, and then you're going to have your DNA lineages. So genetic Adam, isn't that something? I just thought that was just when I first seen it, I was put that there like, wow, they found genetic Adam, and like, well, people must have looked like this in the beginning, because genetic Adam, you know what I'm saying? That's really interesting. And then I went to go and study a little deeper. So I think that's why it's important to look at these things, because when you actually understand the truth of the matter, you can't deny God. You can't. You just can't. If someone was a real geneticist and they was to go about this thing and slowly and understand it, they surely would understand that God exists. They surely would understand it, because that's what I'm showing you here. So one more time, just to basically summarize what I'm showing you here. Just want you to understand this, right? This A lineage is not connected to the tree. They know it for a fact. That's why they put right here. This is 100% of the tree. This is 0% of the tree. You see how this branch is coming out? This is 0% of the tree. This is the rest. This is the whole tree. This is the whole tree, right? You can see. Well, I gotta open it back. Whatnot. I'm not gonna open it, but this would be the rest of the tree. I'm gonna close it. So what you see right here, like if you go to family tree, if you go to this thing, right, go to that first one, and then you'll see right here, right, A-L11090, right? And then just close it. Because at first when you start off, it'll be open. Just close it. Just close it, and then it'll look like this. Once you close this, it'll look like this. And then you'll see. You can do it yourself and you can see it. This is all A0. These are all the A00 lineages. Actually, I meant to show something up here real fast. Right here, right? You can see right here, A0, this is Adam, the same thing, right? Adam right here. And then you have the rest of mankind right there, 110, right? Or 1090, right? 1090 right there. That's going to be the rest of your mankind, right? And then you got your ancient individual, right? These are going to be your ancient lines, and all these are going to be the same family. All these are going to be the same family for the sake of understanding. It's all going to be one family. It's your A00 lineage, just to make it short. All right, Shalom family. Went back a little bit, but I want you to see this. The reason why I want you to see is because I want you to know what's going on in this world today. I don't know if you was able to hear that, but you see this? I want you to know this for the sake of understanding. If you ever went to this family tree, right? Haplogroup A, right? Family tree, DNA. Go to Haplogroup A. This is where you're going to see the most of Y chromosomes and whatnot. And then just close that first, because usually this first branch will be open, right? You'll have a bunch of stuff. Just go right here, right underneath the blue one, and close it, right? You can type it down. You can do it yourself, like this. Family tree Haplogroup A, right? And you can find it right here. This one is another one. I got to make sure I find that exact one. Let's see if it's harder to find or not. Let me try on Google, because sometimes it's different on the searches are different. Let's see. I just wanted to see if it would be hard to find it or not. Otherwise, you could always just put it. I'll put it in the description. I'll put this in the description. You can do it yourself. I'll put this in the description and you can see it. Let me actually close this. The reason why I want you to see it, because I want you to see. I want you to see this A00. I want you to know that this A00 is not connected to the tree. It's not connected to the tree. You see, this is not connected. This line looks like it's connected, but it's really not. It's really not connected. And they say it themselves. You can see A index does not connect to BT, and this leads to BT. This leads to BT for the sake of understanding, but it's not connected. A is actually descending from BT. It's important to understand that. A is actually descending from BT. But notice this is 100% of the tree, right? And if you open this, look at that. See that? 0% of the tree, and it's descending its own way, its own direction. Isn't that something? That's crazy. Because you know why that's crazy, right? Because this is 100% of the tree. Let's say 100% of the tree from Adam. Because they're trying to connect this. What they're trying to do is make these two connect. They don't. They just said they don't. They already. We know that the A right there, you see BT, because for them to connect these two, they have to connect BT, right? I'm gonna show you. Let's see. Let's go to BT. Find it on here. I'm gonna show you. Actually, let me close it and reset it. I'm gonna put this in the description so you can see it, because I just tried to search it. It was a little harder, but sure there's a certain way to search it and get this exact one. But I want to show you. I want to show you this. All right. As soon as you open this link, right? As soon as you go down, this will be open already, right? This Haplogroup tree, because they don't want you to see. They don't want you to pay attention to A00. They don't want you to know. They want you to think all these A's are the same, right? A00 is going to be down there. But let's continue on this. As it says right here, this is 100% of the tree. We're going to continue on 100% of the tree, right? And notice what are we going to have? A and B. Now, what's the problem with this? Let me show you. We got two problems. We got, you see BT right there, and then it says B in between these two. B doesn't make CT. Let me show you something. Let's just look. You see right here? They did a design, they did it themselves, and they realized this. CT does not come from haplogroup B. Okay, then what do you see on this tree? B and then CT. You see what's going on there? Because this is coming from here, and then you got this one. You see this? And what's the problem here? A right here too. This is the cutoff right here. A to B, BT. Because A can't go into BT and it can't go into CT. Let's go to that. I'm gonna show you something. All right. I was talking about these don't descend from African haplogroups. BT, CT, and BT is the split because CT, as you can see right here, let's look on this thing closer. I want to show you something. Let's look at this design because I can actually read this. I can actually read this. Do you know that? Let me show you something. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. Guess what this is? CT. This is CT. And guess what this is? This is gonna be BT. But this is actually, these two are actually, this right here is actually evened out. They're leveled out for the sake of understanding. They make it really older. The reason why, because they're trying to connect it to A00. These don't connect. A00 don't connect to none of these. You see how they put them there? These don't connect. They know it for a fact. But this is a different what's the word I'm looking for? This is a graph. They're trying to put it on a graph and then it descends on their own. You can see right there. But look at this. Let me show you something. CT, right? What does it bring forth? You can see right here, you got some B's, you got some D's and E's, you got some I's and J's, you got H's and everything. You get all these lineages that come forth, right? And what's interesting about it is that if you notice right here, we don't have anything that's actually descending into B except when they put the A and A0 and A00 there. But let me show you something. Let me show you something. What they actually learn. That's why they put it right here because they know these don't work like this. They don't descend like that. That's not how they work. See, it's saying CT does not come from haplogroup B, and it says non-haplogroup BT, non-African, because BT and CT are not in Africa. It says non-African haplogroups BT and CT do not descend from the African ones. See what's going on there? Let me go down a little bit. Right, talking about all the A's and everything. See all the A's right there? And it says none of BT lineages descend from them. None from the A lineages. None of BT, none of them, from none of these. They say they don't descend from them. But you'll see it on the graph. Show you something, right? So they talk about these ones right here. They say they assume that the currently African branches A00, A0, A1A, A1B at 1 descended from African haplogroups. They say they assume they descended from African haplogroups. And those were A0T, A1, A1B. Now, you got to be careful because there's a difference between these groups. There's a difference between these groups. You understand? There's a difference. There's one that's a Hamite group, and there's one that's actually going to be a lineage that's separate from everyone else. But that is actually going to be the line of Aaron. It's really interesting when you see this. In reality, this has never been shown. It's never been shown these connected. Never been shown. In reality, this has never been shown. Those haplogroups represent a fork. They talk about a split, right? Different things that they're not connected. So you can see different things, whatnot. But let me show you something right here, just to make it simple, right? Let's go back here one more time. You see these A's right here? You see BT? You see BT right there? Okay, A's, BT right there. Let's see what it says about BT. Let's see right here. Right, another branch of said fork is haplogroup A1B is haplogroup BT, shown in the lower part of the tree. All right. Now watch what it says here. It is obvious. that haplogroup BT, haplogroup BT right there, right? It is obvious that haplogroup BT does not descend from the African haplogroups having index A. Having index A. It does not come from index A, yet they have it coming from index A. What's the problem with that? Something's up. Something's off. Something's not right. They're not following the rules. You see what I'm saying here? These are multiple geneticists. That know this is true based on the information, right? That's important. That's actually this is actually important to take note of. I think it's important to take note of because this if they can get away with stuff like this, then you wouldn't, they'll get away with more. So obviously reading this thing, I knew, where's BT and CT. So what they said was whatnot right there. Here's the more design that it should be right here. But it's actually evened out. These ages are actually going to be evened out for the sake of understanding. Because this is going to be the line of him for the sake of understanding. You're going to have these different other lines. These are different lineages. Really important to also know that what you're seeing when you see this, you're actually seeing a split. You're seeing a change. You're seeing something different that's going on for the sake of understanding. And what you got to understand here too, when you're looking at this, these are all descending. This is actually, now you see how these numbers, 80, 60, 40, 20, they're descending. That's important. They just turned it like this to kind of try to make it confusing, like they're going up, like they're evolving. They're not evolving. No one evolves. It's not what happens. No one evolves. Everyone loses information. So it's just like that, just for looks confusion. It looks confusing, but it's easy to understand once you understand it. Right. So some rules broken. I just want you to know that, but I can understand the tree even with the broken rules. I can understand what's going on. So you can see what you see in there. These are your other lineages. And BT, what does BT make? Watch what it makes. You got your CF, right? It's gonna have your CF and your CF lineages and everything, right? Have all your lines and whatnot. And what's interesting is you got your DE. Okay, let's see where they're connected to. See that line right there? You can find out where they're connected to. Okay, let's just keep going up. Oh, they split from where? CT. But they're not even connected to A and B. A and B is over there. So CCF is more closely related to D and E than they thought. It's important to understand. Think about that. If you're any of these lineages, if you're CF, right? IJK, RS, all these things, you're more closer to this lineage than you are with the A and B lineages. You see that? This could you split from the same spot, CT, and going down from there, because these are split from BT, but here splits from CT. You see that? Think about that. I'm gonna close it just to show you more closer. This is split. CF and DE. This is a split right here from CT. All right, CT is gonna have your CF and DE. All right, see that clear? It's your D lineages. You gotta click this and then you go into those E's and whatnot. So you can see your lineages here. Go up a little bit. Let's close it. Make it a little more clear. Go up. So you see how that BT is there because they try to connect it with this A lineage, right? Just close this. I'm gonna put this link here. Just close this. Just close it. That's all you gotta do. Go all the way to the front right here and see 11090 and close it. And that's gonna be your A right here. This tree, this is not even part of the tree. It's like I'm not even. If you think about it, what I just did, I just opened up a lineage that is almost like it's impossible. It's genetically impossible. The lineage I just opened up is genetically impossible. It's impossible because it's not even part of the tree. Yet it breaks off in its own way. It's not even part of the tree. This is the tree. This is not even part of the tree. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. When I seen that, I was so shocked. I was absolutely shocked. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's on its way. So I just want to show you that this is evidence of lying. This is what you're seeing. That you see a design that they try to design, but we can understand it because we live in a world of confusion. We have to dig out of the world of confusions by finding truth. We hold fast to truth, and that refines us. So that's what we're gonna keep doing. It's growing, and you can see it. This is a real. This is all. This is a real PDF. I didn't just find somebody just writing something. You can go about these things. You can send emails and open these things and look at their PDF. Look at the information to this thing. You can find out what's going on with all these things. You know, it has some information. I just want to show you that this is a real. This is real. This is real information. That's what you're seeing there. It's real information. And I just wanted to show you that because I thought that was amazing. I thought that was amazing that when I was younger, even just a few years ago, just seeing this genetic atom, I thought it was amazing. That's evidence of the Bible. But I would rather give up the evidence of Adam and prove the evidence that this genetic code is a map because it's just a fact. It's just a fact. That's what it is. It's just a fact. We don't have Adam. It takes is a little logic to sit there and think about it. Like, wait a second. How can we have a genetic Adam without Adam? We can't have a genetic Adam without Adam because everyone's a split from Adam. How can you have a genetic Adam that's alive? It's crazy. That's what the genetics came from. The genetics came from living people that was living just recently. It's very interesting to see that. So a lineage that's not connected to the tree. That's what you actually see in there. So obviously that's really interesting to see that. So the reason why that's interesting is because if it was Adam, it would all go down into it. He would descend into these. He wouldn't descend off like this. It wouldn't go like that. It would descend into these. It wouldn't descend like this. They go their own. They go their own way, their own direction. So it's really interesting to see that. You got some people you see or not. I wish I had this one up here too. So you can see it's not that many people. See America. I want to actually click. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't think it was gonna do anything. I think it's gonna show me much on that, but you know, you never know. It's really interesting though. I think it's really interesting to see. I think it's interesting to see these things. Maybe if you have a purchase thing, maybe you can go further, deeper into them or something. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? So with that, family, that's what we just went over. Just a few little things, nothing too serious. Just wanted to have a holy conversation today because I think some of the things going on in this world